principles at play. The first thing is to actually understand that there is a difference between making content for a local audience and for a global audience. And there's nothing wrong. Once you define what you think your marketplace is, you hone in on that and you work in that space. But if you decide that you want to make something that's for a global audience, there really are certain, guidelines that I would like to suggest that you abide by. One of them is making sure that we are authentic to the stories that we're telling. And I find that as Nigerians, we are quite authentic, but I've also found that we try to move into a space that is not ours. We're trying to be who we're not. And I think that may be distracting from who we are. And audiences around the world, it's like when you see the real thing and you see the fake thing, people are very susceptible. They can understand that this is real or this isn't real. So I think it's very important that as we tell our stories as Africans, as Nigerians, that we remain authentic to those stories that we're telling. Another point I'd like to suggest is that understanding that there are universal themes that should be part of the stories that we're telling. Things like love and ambition and resilience and justice and who's the good guy and who's the bad guy. All of these things are part and parcel of what's going to help us get to that global stage. Most important, investing in high quality productions. It is important that we understand that there is an international standard. And with a lot of our filmmaking, I know that sometimes budgets are very restricted, which is why I'm saying also that another point is collaboration. You can't do everything, and a lot of us feel that I want to do it by myself. Therefore, I'm only going to make my 10 million naira film, or my 100 million naira film, or my 200 million naira film. But imagine if we all took those 100 millions of nairas and put it together and made a global blockbuster. It's going to travel a lot further. You're going to earn a lot more. But we shouldn't just be comfortable thinking it's about me and my little empire, which is why when we did The Wedding Party, which became the #1, best-selling box office blockbuster, actually nearly 10 years ago, it was because we decided to, I had the idea, I went to, the Wedding Party story is a story in itself, it's a movie in itself, as they said. I went to a wedding at a location somewhere in Nigeria, I won't say which one, and I was looking at the drama at this wedding. So everything that you literally see in The Wedding Party existed at this wedding. There was the mother-in-laws, there was the father-in-law, there was the girlfriend of the father-in-law, whilst the mother-in-law was still there. There was the girlfriend that the groom had married still at the wedding. And I was like, wow, all of this, and this is real, guys. I got into my car that day and I said to myself, I am making a movie about a wedding. And then I reached out to Moses Babatope and I said, Moses, listen, let's do this. And Moses then introduced me to Inkbrook and to Coca Studios. And then, that's it. I mean, we did Wedding Party 1, we did Wedding Party 2, and who knows, there may be a Wedding Party 3 in the making. Because, the most important thing is that once you have created this IP, it's how do you begin to ensure that you can monetize it and it works for you. So it's important that high quality productions are done. And I think one of the best ways of achieving that is to partner with local partners and also with global partners. And as you know, we at Ebony Life, we haven't stopped at just doing local productions. I've spent a decade reaching out to global partners. Yes, a lot of them are going to reject you. They're going to say, no, we're not interested. But 10 years later, we've signed agreements with the BBC Studios, Stars, Lionsgate, Westbrook, Idris Elba, and so on and so forth. But it's about the fact that what we've had to do is to create stories that have global appeal. So it's important to understand that so for example, let me give you, when we're talking about the BBC Studios project, it was about a story called Reclaim. So Reclaim, I don't know if you know, but in the 1700s, the British came to Nigeria and they looted all our Queen Idia masks and a lot of our artifacts from Benin, and they now sit in museums around the world. And I felt that there's a story in there somewhere about, heist is a format that works really well. So the story we developed was really about this kick-ass, millennials, Gen Zs as we call them today, going back to these museums in England and going back to these other homes of private, collectors and taking back what belongs to us. But you can imagine this is fast-paced action thriller. The BBC were like, we love this idea. So it's about finding those story points that can work for us. Another story idea we had was the Hush Puppy story. Now, a lot of people have said to me, Mo, why are you talking about Hush Puppy? But the point is that Hush Puppy does exist. We've seen how the mafia is portrayed in Italian stories. So, why can't we tell the story about a bad guy from Nigeria? Hoping that a lot of us, and now he's in jail doing 20 years. Let's hope that others don't follow in that same way, thinking that is the only way for me to get out there and make my own fortune. So I'm just saying that when you are looking for what is a global story, it can be quite different to what is a local story. The story has to have that essence of global appeal, as I've just described to you. It's important to build a multi-platform presence, and thankfully Shola Sani is also here today from Netflix. Netflix have helped us grow in that space whereby you put something on Netflix and it's seen around the world. And Nigeria, our stories are traveling. Recently I made 2 short films. They're sitting on Apple TV today. It's probably one of the first, if not the first, Nigerian production that's sitting on the Apple platform. But it's important, again, to have these conversations. It's important for us, if we want to be out there in this big, wild world of filmmaking, that you need to network. A lot of the success that I have had with regards to the relationships that I have built, it has been that I go to global events around the world. My presence is felt. I speak out often. I've become an ambassador, unofficially, for the Nigerian creative sector. I speak again a lot about tokenism. And when I talk about tokenism, I'm not talking about the fact that we're not making content in Africa. I'm talking about the fact that I am speaking to commissioners that command millions of dollars of budgets, and they've decided that we are only going to make 1 token black show a year. And I am fighting that cause because I believe that there should be more money coming from those global budgets and projects, not just from Netflix, but from the other streamers, from the other studios. What is going on in Nigeria? I wasn't going to say what is going on with the tech, I was going to say what is going on in Nigeria. Another thing that's going to help us become global, and this is my last point, marketing budgets. We're very fond of spending, you make 100 million naira movie, and then you spend 5 naira marketing the movie. It doesn't work. Rule of thumb says you should be spending 20 to 30% of your production budget on your marketing budget. So when you make the movie, it's important to make sure that you have allocated a sufficient budget for the marketing. Yes, beg friends and family to help you put it on the Instagram pages and all of that, but you need to ensure that you do have a budget that is enough for you to ensure that your stories can travel. And I'm proud to be a part of this sector. Yes, that is where are we? Yeah. Okay, so I'm proud to be a part of this sector. I'm proud for the contributions that I've been able to make, but we're just beginning. I really don't believe we've touched the surface yet. We haven't. So I want to say collaboration is how we are going to get to what we're calling, what I would like to call the promised land. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to speak.